video, I'm going to talk about what happened when I got rallied and swarmed by Kingdom 556. And this took place after a breakout attempt that went pretty well right up until it ultimately failed and they took out our forts that we were attempting to build and then started rallying my city, Abe's city, Shadow Adam's city. It got a little bit dicey. Right now, I'm using the King title, and for the record, in this video, I'm going to break down the stats from the rally, the stats from my city, the equipment, why I made certain commander choices, and some surprising insights, at least for me anyways, about how my hospital actually filled up. And man, I really wish I did not have any T4 units at all in my city, but maybe there's some other explanation that we can all figure out together. So here you can see, I still have War Frenzy for just a couple seconds more, and Goodfather starts swarming my city. My hospital's almost at 600,000 troops in it, and I look in again, and at this point, I'm just listening to the team saying, hold on, Chisgule, let him swarm you, he's going to get a ton of dead, and my hospital's full, and at this point, I'm like, all right, everybody, get out of the city, it's time to pop a peace shield. The timing of this rally on my city was really quite remarkable with when my frenzy dropped and when I could pop the shield, but they actually cancel the rally. They actually cancel the rally about when I'm going to put my shield on, or maybe the shield made them cancel the rally. I'm not sure which happened first. There's the fate changer. I think they probably would have kept the rally, right? I think they really had me, and I didn't want to go to a burn. Because why would I give them whatever resources I had on hand? I mean, I don't think it was all that many, but I'm not giving them my resources, so I popped a shield. Also, the worst part of the trades are at the very end. And you can see that Abe and Shadow Adam had put so many troops in my city that they had caravans coming too. But let's actually pause the video that I recorded while this was happening and go check out the stats. So look at these caravans. Everybody had caravans. Also, well, we'll break down my hospital, but my hospital bill is almost, actually, it's over 200 million resources. My God, that was a pretty hefty size hospital bill, that's for sure. So the question obviously is, was it worth it? And I think there's a definite slam dunk yes answer, but we'll show you all of the details on the dead troops here. And I just want to remind everybody that defending a city is the single most advantaged defense in the game, assuming that you actually have someone captaining their city with really great commanders, and obviously you have to captain your own city. No one else can do that for you. So if for a player like me, who is nearly max tech at this point in the KVK, with great gear and great commanders, this is the single best defensive scenario we could have if only players were actually able to get to my city to reinforce it. Because, well, you can see that my reinforcement capacity for my city, by the way, is 3 million. And if you think about it, that's like a fort worth of capacity plus all my troops on top, plus my captains can never get knocked out of the garrison, which is really, really good, right? Unlike when you're defending a fort where your captain's march can get destroyed, can't happen in your city. So defending your city is really good with the right person at the helm, and the report really reflects that. Also, by the way, there's my hospital capacity worth of troops that are not going to be dead before I personally start taking 100% dead, which is what happened. So my hospital is going to fill up in this scenario. The rally inflicted 211,000 deads and received 760,000 and 600 dead troops. This is a blend of T4 and T5s, but my AoE took down 102,000 and also 100,000 and also 95,000 and also 200,000 and also 95,000. And, oh, this is a second rally from 846. We were dealing with 3 kingdoms trying to prevent us from getting out of the pass, which, I mean, yeah, it made it fairly difficult to deal with 3 kingdoms. Here is 134,000 dead for another person getting hit by AoE, and up next is the Goodfather swarm. Goodfather, swarming with Trajan Ethelfled, inflicted 35,000 deads, actually 35,500, to 116,000 deads. This is why my team was like, Chisgule, don't bubble yet. Just let him swarm your city for a bit. Up next is Attila and Takeda, 6,900 deads for me, 167,582 deads for him. I think that Attila Takeda's not amazing for swarming a city exactly, because half of your damage is counterattack damage, but I wasn't targeting him, so he doesn't deal that. So I think that probably that's not one of the best marches. Also, I bet you the AoE was really nailing that march. Then 72,800 to 92,500. Actually, the Saladin William traded the most positive. I suspect, and you'd have to watch the clip in kind of slow motion to see, but I suspect it was not getting hit by the AoE, and it reduces counterattack damage taken, which would, yeah, reduce your damage taken quite substantially. The next Goodfather hit is with a Guan Leo, and that took a ton of damage. That must have been taking the YSS AoE. 32,585 dead for me and the people in my city, and 211,538 dead for the Goodfather. 55,231 dead for me, and 132,956 dead for Goodfather. And we've got Artemisia Tommy, which is a really sick mark to be, that's a good march to swarm a city with. 46,000 dead for me, and 107,774 dead for Goodfather. Oh yeah, and Pakal Herald. 43,000 dead for me, and 128,000 dead for them. Wow. How many marches did they swarm me with? Was that 6 or was that 7? I wasn't even paying attention. Wow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. 7. Holy moly. God, that's so. And I had the rally bearing down on me, which is why my hospital obviously filled up. So to that end, the grand total of dead troops, for those of you keeping track, was 431,414 of my own troops that died, and it was a grand total of 500,482 for my kingdom that were lost, and it was a grand total of 2,445,453 dead troops for the attackers. Wow. And if for those of you interested in this, that is 760,600 in the rally, 849,090 of Goodfather's troops died, and something like 600,000 died from AoE. Wow, that is crazy. So, like a 5-for-1 trade, and a lot of the reinforcements in my city, like 1 million of them, were coming from Abe and Shadow Adam, and they were siege. So like, oh, I don't particularly care about losing our siege. And by the way, that number that I just threw out there does not include the dead troops from the T1 siege rally that hit my city at the same time, which was like, I don't know, it was like 300,000 or whatever it was, 352,000. Lol. Honda with a vacant secondary commander, because, I mean, why the heck not? Oh, I did take down one T5 siege unit. Let's freaking go, Megapog. So, there's a big insight here about the troops that actually fill your hospital. And before I talk about that, I just want to mention for a moment the stats that were for the rally and the garrison here. We just look at the buffs. I did confirm I'm actually still wearing my gear on my YSS, so I had gear on, and it's very good gear. Going for the 2-piece bonus of all 3 of the legendary sets in the game. I don't have legendary legendary leadership talented gear yet. Maybe at some point I will go and do that. But I think we can all marvel for just a moment at the XY Chandragupta health here for calves. 130.5%. I mean, that's just impressive. They also have 231% cav attack, 150.5% cavalry defense. And I did compare my stats here to when I was defending in Heroic Anthem, and they are very, very similar. All the card up in the top for the last time I got rallied, it was 3 times in the last KVK, which was pretty nuts. But you're probably wondering, Chisgule, what is this insight that you sort of uncovered looking at your hospital? And this was really weird. Help me figure this out. Okay, just help me figure this out. I was going to say chat. Like, you know, this is a live stream, but it's not live. Help me figure this out. Look at what went into my hospital. It's this column right next to the red column. The red column is dead troops, right? The next column to the right of it is the Sev wounds. And all the way on the left, that's my units. So how is it that 11% of my hospital is T4 siege when only 0.85% of my troops are T4 siege? Less than 1% of my troops are T4 siege, but over 10% of my hospital was siege. They died first, and they were filling my hospital very rapidly. My cavalry, gross, took up a huge amount of my hospital capacity. And why is it that my infantry freaking got killed so fast? My infantry counter their cavalry from the rally. I don't have a ton of infantry, but like 1.6 million T5 infantry is not a small amount either. But 237,000 of the hospital from the rally. This is just the rally portion of the hospital filling. Keep that in mind. The rest came from the swarming, okay? But this is 42% of my hospital was T5 infantry, even though they make up 21% of my troops in this part of the report. I don't understand it. I don't get it at all. How does that work that way? Why does that work that way? My only guess here, and what's really weird, is that you can see that I had very few infantry dead. Isn't that weird? So I think I was losing infantry the fastest because of reasons. I don't know. And I lost my infantry so fast that I didn't even have that many infantry die compared to other unit types. Whereas my cavalry, I had 91,000 cavalry die. And I actually do have more cavalry than other unit types. So I was actually really glad for the way that that worked out. But it was certainly kind of weird. Like, I don't quite understand why that kind of works the way it does. And as a reminder, when we look at the other troops that people brought in, Shadow Adam with the 469,999 T5 siege. I mean, that's a fat march. Barca Caesar. I mean, between freaking Shadow Adam and Abe, they had almost 1 million T5 siege in my city reinforcing. But you'll notice that they only have about 25% of the total like wounds and deads combined are actually dead troops. So to word that a little more clearly, 25% of your troops die and 75% become SEVs. It's actually quite nice to reinforce a city. It is a good plan to just jump into a city. Now, in terms of the commanders that I was using here, I feel like I made good choices. I have all of the defensive options that I could possibly want for defending my city with the exception of Wu Zetian. And I went with the YSS Theodora combo because I've got all these different troop types in my city. I'm going to get the benefit of just like huge amounts of stat gain for all those different troop types. So I figured, you know what, man, I am going for the YSS Theo combo. And because they were rallying with XY and Chandragupta, I didn't feel like I had a garrison that would hard counter what they were doing. And because of the blend of troops that I had, it wasn't like I had all infantry and it's like, man, I should just go Zeno. Not at all the case. So I went with this sort of mismatched set of gear, getting the 2-piece bonuses of literally every set. You can see that here a little more clearly. I mean, I could do some pretty good stuff, and you get a lot of stats using the pieces that are not from sets. They actually have a lot of stats on them. But I feel like this was the right choice, just getting 3% of health for all troop types, and defense for all troop types, and attack for all troop types. And of course, the Horn and I think the Ring are just phenomenal choices. I mean, if I had a Vengeance and I knew Goodfather would swarm, I guess that would be maybe better than the Horn for that part of the report, but I feel like I made fine choices there, and maybe instead of Horn, I could have actually used my coin. Coin would have been okay in that scenario, I suppose, although I don't know if coin shields overlap with YSS shields, but because he swarmed, man, it was very good that I had YSS. Now, if they had rallied me with, like, Pakal Herald, then, I mean, yeah, I would have used Artemisia and Amanatori, and I would have threw them on the wall, and I would have probably just used my full procced archer set, and I would have just done it that way. I think that's probably what I would have done. If they had been hitting me with, I mean, I don't know. Would I have gone to Jadwiga if they had rallied me with archers? Maybe. Maybe I would have gone to Jadwiga, but probably not. Like, she's fine for city defense, but I don't think she's amazing. Although, She does do cavalry damage versus archers. I guess that's okay. I don't think she's the jam for city defense. I really do feel like that YSS Theo combo with the equipment that I had on was a fine choice for that scenario. And for those of you wondering about builds, I always have on my YSS 2 builds handy for city defense, and I recommend that you do the same, quite frankly. If I go to my talents here, this is my anti-skill damage build. I think it's a great way to build this out to handle taking skill damage to your city. I also have a Attila Takeda build, which basically avoids the things that reduce skill damage taken. That's primarily loose formation and impregnable. And I also have these same builds on my Theodora in case I'm garrisoning, I guess, with Xeno YSS, and at the same time need to garrison my city with Theodora plus whatever other garrison captain I have. I don't know, man. This was really crazy. This took place at like 3 in the morning for me, so it was a little intense, but it was also very fun. Cheers to my alliance for putting up a good fight. Cheers to the kingdoms that were fighting us, all 3 of them, to recontain us back in the starting zone. We had built a flag here, forts were burning. We destroyed these flags. We had a fort down. They took it out. We dropped again. They continued to build more and more presence, and then they took it out again. It was a worthy shot. I don't even know why we're still here. I don't know why I'm still bubbled here. I don't know what I'm going to accomplish. Honestly, I should just leave this area. I'm not doing anything here. Maybe I'll drop some Lohars for fun, but nah. I kind of want to go farm resources. Could I go do that? If you enjoyed the video or learned something new, throw a like on here and consider subscribing. As I mentioned, Abe got rallied. Shadow Adam got rallied. I hope he's awake. He probably put on an 8-hour peace shield. And does he know that he's not shielded right now? Shadow Adam, hello! This could get kind of interesting. If you want to see when they got rallied, those videos will be coming very, very soon. Until next time, you have fun smashing your enemies.